Well, here it is. I already started taking it apart, and I thought, you know, I should get a before. This is cute table. It is bowed on the tabletop, but we may be just using that for the top of the bench. But this was free on Facebook Marketplace. And what we got it for is those nice legs, and probably, I don't know, some of this maybe. And we're gonna see if we can use some of this top for the bench. Here's the table. The legs are off. It's one of the legs to the other table. And these have the chunky legs like I wanted. This also came from Facebook Marketplace. We paid $40 for it, but it is solid wood. Last ones. Okay, so it's just the tabletop remaining. Oh, it's a hot day out here. We'll be repurposing all of this. There's not a whole lot to it. I don't know if you can see down here is the stuff I took off. Here's the legs. A 2x8 by 10 foot long, because this is the rest part of that. I decided not to use the tabletop. I'm just gonna, because this is what we're gonna use for the dining room table that we're also going to be working on. So I want the bench to match. So we're going to use these 2x8.
Cut these sides straight. See how they're rounded?
Yeah.
They're not really flat. So when you put them together, like this,
They'll be nice and tight.
Screw them, they'll go like this. Or the other way.
Yeah, this is
set my table saw
going to be the...
And trim these straight up and down. So when they come together, they'll meet.
Ed has cut, what will you call that, Ed?
Straight edge.
Straight edged.
Square edge.
Square edged. Both these sides. So he's gonna use his
Pocket hole.
Yeah, make pocket holes. But I want you to see, we paid.
This is premium.
This is premium. Home Depot. $20 for 10 foot 2x8. $19 and close to 20. And still, it is seriously
terrible.
Heavy. This is the bottom side. We picked
Wet.
Yeah, the best side for the top. So, but you can see that it's tighter here, and then it just, and even though that's straight, it's just so, I mean, he dug through them, and this was one of the better ones, if we'll call it that.
Just put this right on your mark. Just like that. Clamp it.
Clamp it.
Pretty simple. name's that? Type Bond 3.
First time.
I believe it's 7,000 PSI.
We usually use that Type Bond 2, but we figured we'd change it up and try this. I think it's supposed to dry faster.
This is 4,000 PSI.
Oh.
This is 3,600.
So not too much different.
Not too much different.
But
this
this,
dries faster.
yeah. It's getting later. We're losing light. We don't have but these little rope lights here, and
They don't work real well.
getting those clamped down. Hopefully,
Hopefully it stays straight.
right? Yeah. And we'll do some sanding when he gets this out. Then,
Plane it.
yeah, he's gonna plane this. Figured he'd get it together, and then it would be more even.
Because the boards are kind of dipped, but that's the best I could find.
So this is, instead of using that tabletop like I was going to, I ended up having to spend, I can't believe that, just for the one board, but hey, it is what it is. First one in. How's it looking?
Crooked.
Crooked? That's not good. Maybe we need more clamps. This is set all night. Pocket hose, it did seem to pull it a lot more together with the glue and the screws. The top is finished, and now at least it's pretty even with lots of planing and sanding. So now what we're gonna do is use this plastic wood, because I don't know if you can pick up, but you can see there's some chips out of that knot, and then I will fill in these knot holes, and then there's one. Of course, I think it's the same one. That's what we're going to do now, and let it dry. That's some of the parts from the table we're going to be reusing. And whew, I think this took forever long. So you can see right there where we have the line drawn, and that is, I was hoping that this would work out because of this scoop in this board, and it did, and we get to reuse their pocket holes, which would be nice. So, and there's that one, so it worked out great on that. Okay, we stood the legs back up there, and the distance between them is 6 1/8. So we have this other board that came from the table. We'll cut it to fit between these. These are already cut. Moving along, and obviously we will cut the legs down probably right in here somewhere. these pieces are cut. It's not screwed in, but what's awesome is the pocket holes we will use to go down in there. And obviously we'll put our corner braces in, and we also we're gonna sister up with a 2x2, I believe, because we want to make sure with the scooting around and whatever that it stays nice and secure. And with the thinner boards, I don't know, I'm just thinking to beef it up a little, won't hurt it. And there is the corner pieces we're going to reuse, which is awesome. And of course the legs have the hardware with the nuts and the bolt. That one's a bit of a mess, but I'm thinking with glue, and then we're going to use this. I thought we were going to sister it up to this, but Ed said we're going to go across, like, you know, there.
I'm going to cut these off, and these balls right here are the same size, so when I put them on my saw, I'm going to get a straight cut, which is turns out to be lucky for us.
But hate to cut such a nice leg, but I need my bench. Here we go. Woo! I foresee another project with those. Hey, seriously, look how cute. Here it is. Another little leg in our living area. There's Ed getting things ready.
Make a little shim.
He wants to get it perfectly level. He's shimming it because the is it the 2x8's a little bit. Let me show you what he's doing right here. He put a little shim under there, just little, so he can make sure. That's why he has his level in here, that these are level. This part here isn't. This is going to be the easier part.
Yeah, because it's cooler.
It's miserable out, and that's why, I don't know if you can see, that's my craft room out there, and I have pulled all of the shades down. That's why it's dark in here. Over there, well, it's kind of bright over there. That's because the sun is hitting directly on that. And then over the kitchen window, I have pulled the shade down, trying to keep it, you know, a little bit more comfortable in here, not work the air conditioner so hard. So I should say. Little shim he has glued down, and that'll just help keep that those legs straight.
Because it was leaning in.
Yeah, instead of these legs leaning in, because as much as we tried, it's pretty straight, but it did curve up a little on.
Yeah, curved up.
A little bit, and it was enough to kind of get the legs off just a little bit. Probably could have been fine, but might as well make it straight.
Twos in here, or 1.5 by 1.5, to brace these sides, and to also brace in here where I put the two pieces together, so it doesn't, when it dries, it doesn't bend out, I hope.
That's what we're counting on, right?
That's what we're counting on.
Yeah.
So I'll put my pocket holes right in here. And there you go. Suck it right up.
Might be a little overkill, but
Yeah, I think
he only wanted to put 3. I said, go ahead and put 4.
Do leg will go on like this, and the corner bracket will go in there
Yeah.
over the screws.
And what's cool is this already was all cut.
I just had to shrink it.
Yeah, from the other table. So I guess, you know, the pocket holes were in there too, weren't they?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's awesome.
That goes like that, and then you screw there, and then
Yeah.
you bolt your legs on.
Ooh. And I'll put
Cushions on it.
yeah, pads. Oh, they're gonna have to be kind of a big pad. Because remember,
You
we had to
wanted
cut
chunky
that.
legs.
I did. I like them. And hey, it was
See,
free.
there's the bench. I was gonna start painting it, but I think I'll wait until we get the table done. This is the tabletop. This is now a different table. It has bigger, chunkier legs, which I haven't brought in. They were already off the table. We paid $40 for it. So what I'm gonna do is remove this base just like we did that. Okay, got the screws out, which was super easy. And
Table's
it's not glued
been
down.
working. This is coming
Yeah, you
up.
can.
It's like sagging.
People probably stood on it, you know.
So I'm
and then-
having to put these pieces of wood in here so I can get my other frame right to the edge, so we'll have a flat surface. I already had to take my square and put under the legs to lift them, to tighten them up, because the corners of these are really bending down. I don't know if you can see it on the video, but
I don't know either. I don't think so.
when we took this thing loose, it really started working.
So this, he put the legs back on already. There it
Take
is.
this off the tabletop and set it on the ground, feet side down,
And
and then we will start on our slats outside.
where it's 111 degrees.
But once you start on them, you need to finish them so they don't warp,
Right.
because they're green.
I know. They say dried, but I'm not sure I believe it.
Cut the worst off the end. These are 8-footers, and I need them 72 inches. So this is the ones that I've cut off, like this here with the split in it. And these with the big Y's in them. Like this is one end, this is the other end.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to,
Get rid of the worst. So
Get rid of
this
the
one,
worst.
he's gonna cut all of this off. And then he'll cut a little off at that end. All right, and it's 111 degrees out here today. Just nasty. I didn't catch it, but Ed ran these through the planer. He ended up going back to Home Depot and getting one more, so there's now 6 of them. What Ed's got done on these 3 boards, which what he did was went ahead and these were, well, they say 8-inch, but they were like 7 1/4, right, Ed? And he has trimmed them down to 6.5 inches wide.
Yes.
Taken so much off. He has on all the boards to get them nice and straight. And he's got all the pocket holes. And he's got this one clamped down because it's one of the worst boards. But he's going to start with this, putting these 3 together, right, Ed?
Yeah, instead of fighting 6.
Yeah, and then he said he's just going to let them set overnight, and then he'll do the other 3 tomorrow. It is blazing hot outside. I don't even know how he did this. Obviously trimming and pocket holes and sanding. This is the bottom side. He did it all. Well, it's coming out really nice. He's got all the boards.
It's not fastened down yet.
No.
Because it's so heavy to move.
Right.
These boards are green. They're getting lighter day by day.
But he's got them with the pocket holes screwed in, and
Everything's together. Everything's glued.
Yeah.
Everything's pulled tight.
so it's
Turning out really nice.
he said there was a few little bit of a bump, so he's
I
just
went over the whole thing with 60 grid. Now I'm going to go over the whole thing with 120. And then probably a 220.
and that'll give it a
That
really
oughta-
nice
Yeah,
finish.
that ought to finish it.
Been cleaned and sanded, and now I'm going to just go ahead and use this Ben Primer, the Ultimate Stain Blocker. It does have a shellac in it, so I'm probably only going to put one coat of that on brushes that I found out in the garage. I'm going to be using to put the primer on, and that's when I'm going to go ahead and start. And I'm excited to get this done because you could see the house is starting to fill up here. So we're
Too many projects at once.
right. That's how we roll. This does have
It's really thin.
a white tint to it, but it does work really well. We use this on our bedroom set. We actually used it on this little set sitting right here. And this,
The only thing, it's really thin.
yeah, it's thin.
But it lays down really nice.
Yes. This is really good for slick surfaces, this primer, like with laminate and stuff like that. That's works really well with that kind of stuff too, but so works. Primer is on. Like I said, I'm only going to do one coat. Didn't use very much. Obviously, this is just a frame. I started to go and do the inside, but that's just a waste of product. That changed my mind. Plus, it's more work and you can't see it, so I'm not going to do that. But this is kind of what it looks like up close. It's not pretty. It's got to get ugly before it gets pretty. But so we will sand this with a very fine grit. What grit do you think, Ed?
40 is what I have on my
We have a 440, so that will smooth it down before we.
sponge.
Yeah, one of those sanding sponges. That'll smooth it down before we put
I just
the
lightly
paint
went
on
over
it. This with one of those sponge sanders, and I'm going to now paint it with this Behr urethane alkyd satin enamel. This was not tinted or anything. It's just the white. So I'm going to start that by putting a coat on now, and then we'll let that dry, and then lightly sand it and do another coat.
This is all painted. I ended up putting 3 coats because some places needed it, so I guess the third was more of a touch-up. But this, it lays down really nice. I sanded between each lightly with that sponge sander each time. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to distress it. Now, I didn't put a dark stain before the paint because I actually kind of want the natural wood to show through a lighter distress. So I'm just going to distress the edges with some sandpaper. I have to get through 3 layers plus the primer. So I'm going to go ahead and use this.
Oh, you're so beautiful.
And I'm just going to do some of this, you know what you do, you mess up your nice paint job, right, Ed?
Scratch up your paint job.
After all your work.
It's gonna get nicked up anyway, so.
This will help it look like, hey, look, there's, oh wait, that's how it's
Yeah,
supposed
I've got
to
it
be.
all distressed. Really didn't take too much time, just trying to figure how much of it I want distressed. So now I am getting ready to put the polyacrylic on. Trying to do this with one hand, and I will just be using this sponge brush, which I just finished doing the bench also. So I'm just gonna put probably 2 to 3 coats of this on there. Yep, that's what I'm gonna. Then, thank goodness, we can start clearing some of this stuff out of the house. Over here is the bench. I'm trying to keep it low because it's bright coming through that window over there, but that is done. I'm gonna run. I need to get some of those. I want to put the floor. What do you call them? The pads. That go on here before I get these turned over, because that bench is a little heavy. But that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just put a couple of light
We were
coats.
looking at how to attach this tabletop, and they said if you use common boards like we are, because we can't afford $20 a foot for something hard, we went to Home Depot and bought some 2x8 by 8s, or 2x8 by 10s, no, 2x8 by 8s, okay. And they said instead of using the pocket holes like this table is and clamping it down solid, the wood's got to flex like it does like your wooden floor when you put a floor in and you leave a 1/4 inch gap around for it to move. Well, this wood's going to move, and they say it's going to move forever. So we bought these little.
Oh, come on.
See how they're slotted this way and then this way? So I'll put these on like this, where the slot goes this way, because the tabletop the grain is running long ways. Well, if the grain runs long ways, it's going to spread this way, not this way. It's going to spread out this way. So this will give it room to move. You'll put this in there, and you'll put your screw in the center. You just snug it up, not tight, and then it'll move back and forth when your heat makes
Yeah, the
it.
seasons and the moisture and
When it gets cold, it'll shrink. When it gets hot, so you put your screw right in the center of your slot. And then these will have to go this way with the slot this way, because they're going to move this way. So I'm glad Debbie found that on the internet, because I don't want my wood
cracking. Yeah, it
And
will
looked
too.
awful. Some of the things that we've seen on the internet, it really split open. It went up. It went everywhere. So
Yeah, there's some YouTube channels, more professional woodworkers than us, that was trying to warn people, because so many people are making their farm style tables and they're just what is
and
that?
also when you put the breadboard on the ends, which I'm not going to do, but
That's
if you
even worse.
did,
Yeah.
that's even worse because it'll actually split that end board.
But if they do it the proper way, the breadboard ends are
Okay,
fine.
I'm using a board to get my flat area, and then I'll put my clip on here where I want it. Always make a pilot hole,
Right.
or this cheap wood will split. This isn't cheap wood, but this and the tabletop, not cheap wood, but it's not
Yeah, it was
high
expensive.
grade. It's not a high grade.
Since we got these boards, which, well, I don't know, was a week and a half ago or so, they have the 2x8s, we noticed, have came down about $3 a board. Of course, they waited until we bought ours, but, so that's good news. Lumber might be coming down a little. There's always hope. But
Yes.
that's all you do is he's just gonna do one of these and drill his pilot holes and woo, don't slip and get yourself. Well, there's one. How many more to go?
12 more to go.
Yeah, it was cheaper to buy a pack of 24 than, otherwise they came in like packs of 6 or 8, I think, and we just felt that may not be enough for this heavy top. So, all right, get back to you after he does that.
Okay, what we did here is centered our table up. We got 1.25 inches all the way around on there, leg to here, 1.5 inches from the leg out to here. So we got that measurement all the way around. So I marked it with a pencil underneath. And then of course it's still a little bit, because it's drying in the drying process, so it's still warped a little. So I put my clamps on, pulled everything down on this side, put my screws in the middle of the slots. You can't tighten them all the way down,
Just
but
snug.
you snug them
Yeah.
to where that's going to move first. So now I'll move over to the other side of the table, put all my clamps down, and then screw it in.
And then we'll clean up some of the mess out of here. This is after 3 coats of bleaching it, and it's dry, so I'm getting ready to bleach it again. This is a sponge brush, but the handle broke off. That's okay, I'm just going to use it like that.
When it gets wet, you can see the orange come through, and that's what we're trying to get rid of.
And wear a respirator.
She has her respirator on, so she can't, you're not gonna be able to hear her very well. This bleach is pretty strong.
So, so you just do this for the rest of the. We just finished the rest of the table doing this. This is the 4th coat. Then when it dries, I'll wipe it down with a clean wet rag. Okay, what I'm doing is I'm using this Behr water-based wood stain, and it is in, let me get the name, whitewash pickling. Yep, so it is basically white, and the reason I'm doing it is I have bleached this 4 times
and I'm having trouble. I don't want it orange. I'm trying to get some of the yellow out of it. So I've already done this over here, and it's already dry. I did bleach this 4 times, and I went over it with a clean, wet washcloth to neutralize all that bleach I put on. And so now, if you'll see how orange this is, I'm just putting this whitewash to tone it down. Just way too yellow and orange for what I was going for anyway. So that's all I'm doing, and trying to get it even. And then that way, when I go and put the seal on it, these 3 are dry. This one's drying, and this one I just finished. When I go to put the seal on it, it should not bring that yellow and orange back up through this pine. Yeah, that's what we're going for. And so I'm just going to do this. This dries really fast too. I'm only going to do 1 coat. Now some people say to thin this down, but I really couldn't get, for my likings, enough of that orange. Especially this one had a lot of orange on it, and you can see where it's pretty even now.
Okay, this should be the last coat. This is gonna be the 4th coat, I believe, right? 5th coat, okay?
We've been taking turns.
We've been trying to sand in between coats with a 400 grit. This is 220, so I didn't want to use it, so I just put my 400 grit on here. Lightly sand in between coats, and that's what we're going to do here. You can feel some of the little bumps, and you can feel them come right off. And now that's really smooth. So that's what we're doing here.
Yeah, our finish is a satin finish of the polyacrylic, and the reason we're putting so many applications on is because it's pine, and it's really a soft wood, and it's you know, we will eat on it, so I want it really protected.
Okay, this hole up in here is double the depth of this hole. So when you push your dowel up in there and you move it over, you put it down in the hole.
Pretty easy fix, right? Now,
Other than this being a different size
yeah, there was the,
in between
yeah,
quarter and 332.
yeah, these are a little
There
thicker.
it is.
These chairs were
Uh,
the freebies off Facebook Marketplace. I have the seats off. I'm going to recover. And then I'm going to wash these and paint them white, of course.
Okay, here it is. It's all done, and we're really both excited it's all done. It was, as far as difficulty, working with warp boards, my part was pretty easy. This is Andy.
Andy, come here.
Anyway, Ed said it was a little bit difficult because
The wood was really green and wet, and every time I would try to do something with it and stop for the day, it would warp more.
yeah.
One end would be this way and the other end would be this way, so I would have to clamp them all down and
And,
try to set them in the sun to let them dry.
keep in mind it said kiln dried boards, but they're not.
You can't get them
Yeah.
unless you go to a lumber company.
So, but he did a good job. It came out straight. Now they were the just construction
Mine.
pine boards. They were 2x8s as you probably seen in the video. They're now $5 or a little more cheaper per board. So this cost us to do the whole thing between, I think, around $180. for everything. And of course, the hardware Ed bought, as you've seen him explain in the video, was like $25 off Amazon, and that drove the cost up. But we finally got that orange out as we showed you. I really like it. We're hoping to do a matching top over there on our coffee bar. Here's the chairs, how they came out. Remember, these were the free chairs, and Ed had to fix the broken dowels. He just went to Home Depot and bought some dowels and did that. So
I
this
think
was
this
just,
one had 2 bad dowels and that one had 1.
yeah, these were the
They were like
previous.
$1 a piece.
The fabric came from Walmart. This is what we chose to go with, and they came out, I think, really cute.
They match
paint
the
and-
table really well.
Yeah. So I think what I'm doing right now is I'm going to be looking for some more free chairs or cheap chairs, and hoping to find with a cushion also, so I can, even though the chairs won't match, I can maybe use the same fabric, paint them white.
We'd like to
And-
get them this tall though.
Yeah, I want the tall.
We don't want the shorter one.
So right now we have them back over here. Yeah, so if this is something you want to take up, like I said, we used 2 tables and used, you know, basically the frames from the tables and took the tops off and kind of just designed this set, which I think came out so cute. We're really happy with it. So anyways, we're hoping that gives you some ideas what you can do, and keep your eye out on Facebook. And I don't know if you have a next door neighbor app. I think most states do have that. You can find some really pretty good things on there and just make it your own. Yes, it's a little bit of work, but in the end you save bunches of dollars, and you make it your size and how you would like it. So, and we're getting ready to leave to go over where it's cooler, over to the coast for a little over a week. Gonna just camp out in our trailer, take it easy, and get away from this heat here. Oh my, it's just, I know it's hot everywhere, but we're seeing that it's gonna be in around the high 60s. We're headed to Morro Bay. And then in October, I think we're gonna take a longer, I think a little over 3-week
2,100 miles.
adventure going through Idaho and around. But anyway, hope this gives you some ideas, and if you haven't stopped by our channel before, we hope you come back and see what we're going to be doing next. Anyway, thank you. This is Debbie and Ed with I'd Rather Be Camping. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.